Good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Make sure you get your green gear 25% off, promo code Jericho1. All caps and the number 1. Jericho and the number 1. So the MLB, Major League Baseball, they felt left out. They were saying, hey, NBA, hey, NFL, what about us? We can be dumb assholes too who alienate most of our fan base and flip the bird to people who have been supporting us for years, who have been raising their families, their sons and daughters, taking them to games. We can say fuck you to them too. So they decided to do that. Yesterday, MLB, Major League Baseball, decided to pull the All-Star game from Atlanta, Georgia. Why? Because of the new voting laws that Georgia passed a week or so ago. The MLB apparently thinks it's racist, and they have to send a message to the Georgia legislators that they are not going to do business with a state like that. Now, Major League Baseball is in the business of politics. They're in the business of punishment. But they will end up being the ones punished. Because people aren't going to stand for this shit. They're not going to support something like that. They're going to take their money elsewhere. Will you ever get them back? I doubt it. Once people feel wronged, once they feel screwed, once they feel looked over, it's hard to come back from that shit. It's damn near impossible, and they deserve it. America's pastime, huh? So, another caveat to this All-Star game is they were supposed to celebrate the life and legacy and career of Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron played for the Atlanta Braves for over 20 years. He lived in Atlanta when he died earlier this year. Also, a little side note, he was part of this group of black folks, prominent public black figures who went to the Morehouse School of Medicine and got their COVID vaccination to show the other black folks that, hey, it's okay to come and get this injection. This smells of the Tuskegee experiment. Anybody remember that? Tuskegee University, they got a bunch of prominent black folks and well-to-do black folks to get the other black folks to come down and get this injection. It was healthcare. Psych, the ultimate episode of Punk'd, they were injecting them with syphilis. Fast forward, we got something new. Black folks need to be told that they should take it. They need to be tricked into taking it. What better way to do that than to get some famous black faces to come on down and get injected first? I'm not trying to wear a foil hat. I'm just saying 17 days after Hank Aaron got the COVID vaccination, he died. So let me get this straight, Major League bitches. Let me get this straight. So you guys want to punish and show Georgia legislators that you don't agree with the new voting laws. So you ruin and basically cancel the celebration of a black person and his black family members and friends and fans who would have come and partaken in those ceremonies, who would have enjoyed them, who would have liked seeing something put together for a man that they were a fan of and that they loved. Fuck all that. Fuck all them. You want to be woke. You want to be a part of the Wokians. Whack. Woke at all costs. And it's going to cost them. So never mind that the man you were supposed to honor, who was a longtime resident of Atlanta, who played for the Atlanta Braves. Never mind that shit. Forget all the happiness and joy and fond memories that would have brought. Now, what is the problem that they have with the voting laws passed in Georgia? One of the main ones is it requires ID to vote. Well, no shit. You need ID to do everything, especially if you're one of these people who look very young. You're going to need that ID for a while. Alcohol, renting anything, buying anything of substantial value, you are going to need your ID. Traveling, to move in society, you need identification. We need to know that you are who you say you are. We need to know that you're a citizen of this country, because that comes with certain responsibilities and certain amenities. And in order to get them, you got to prove that they belong to you. You ever stayed at a hotel or something? You got to prove that you stay there. I remember last year, my wife and I went to Trump Towers and stayed there. I recommend it. Wonderful location, wonderful facility. But when you return to the hotel, before you can get to the elevators, there is somebody standing there with no neck in a suit who needs to see your key card. Now, I don't know what happens if you don't have one. I had one. But I can only imagine that there are other people that he's calling on that earpiece who also have no neck, who will come to talk to you. You have to have identification to move through society, especially the process that shapes the landscape of our country or our state or whatever. Now, they don't like the fact that you need an ID to vote, but you need an ID to purchase alcohol inside of the stadiums of these very same Major League Baseball teams. Make that shit make sense. And again, all you have to do is look at who supports it. Who came out supporting it? Barack Hussein Obama. He supports the MLB and likes the fact that they stuck it to the Georgia legislators. Ain't that some shit? You know damn good and well if Barack Obama is behind it, it is some bullshit. Why do they keep doing this? Why do these fools keep going broke? I think it's because they haven't lost enough money yet. I think because they haven't been kicked hard enough in their wallets. Hopefully that comes. Baseball fans, sock it to them. You're going so woke, and that's the crazy part about it. This thing gets so big and so bloated, and there's so many tentacles reaching into so many aspects of society that it can't keep up with itself. Like I just said, you're taking the celebration of a black person away because you think something's racist against black people. But it's so big and confusing and convoluted that it eventually will eat itself. No one can abide by all these damn rules. There's too many. Eventually, you will all have this woke gun pointed at your head, and they have no choice but to pull the trigger and blow your social brains everywhere, because that's how it has to be done. That's what they've been doing. So once it's pointed at you and you see that cylinder turn and that bullet come up to the chamber, they will pull the trigger on you no matter who you are, because they can't stop now. If you fall under the criteria to be canceled, they will cancel you. And don't worry, wait long enough and they will end up canceling themselves. That shit sounds exhausting. Now, we all know all eyes are on the Capitol right now. You had that officer lose his life because some evil dumbass decided to drive his car into the barricade, killing the officer. Fortunately, he was dumb enough to hop out with a knife, and they shot his ass and killed him. Now, when you have people do stupid shit like this, I wish they wouldn't even say their name. But of course, there's footage of them. I'm not sure if there's footage of him actually being shot, but I did see the footage of them putting him on the gurney and rushing him to the ambulance, doing chest compressions. His arm was hanging down. His leg was hanging down. He looked like he was already fucking dead. But the reason it's not plastered everywhere, the reason you're not hearing his name everywhere, is because the colors don't line up. It's like if you're painting your house, the colors got to match. The trim has to match the body. The accent colors have to match. And if the colors don't line up, they're not going to talk about it. The cop was white, the perp was black. Flip it, and you'll know everything about both of them. You'll know how good of a person he was, how he never bothered anybody, and he was just a good man doing good things in the community and all that bullshit. If you had another white person do something at the Capitol building, it would be called terrorism, and they would be trying to impeach Trump for a third time. And you know I'm right. That bullshit that happened on January 6th, Trump wasn't even there. And then they try to impeach him after he's not even the president anymore. If that dude who did that was white, Trump's name would be everywhere. They could finally get to stroke their little weenies again. We finally have something to talk about. He's back. Because they don't have shit. Their numbers are falling. They have nothing to talk about. Their bread and butter is gone. So any little morsel of Trump they can get, they will gladly take it. And if that dude was white, that's exactly what they would have done. This is another result of dog whistles from Trump. Orange man, still bad. But you don't hear shit because he was black. Why should that matter? If it's an act of evil or terrorism, they call it like it is. You know they be calling this terrorism. They be calling white men the most dangerous people in America. Just like Donna Lamone, that greasy lip bitch. But I guess the white man who he sits on every night is not one of the dangerous ones, right? There's the hypocrisy. If that dude was white, you already know. And I read an article, and they're talking about how they're really focusing on his mental health. He was unstable. He was writing things on social media, and he was going through some mental issues. Well, where was that for everybody else? Why are you focusing on his mental issues instead of his race? Instead of his race making him evil, you're going to focus on what was going on in his mind. It doesn't matter. He's an evil piece of garbage. Just like all these other fools doing these mass shootings. What happened to the dude in Atlanta? He was a racist for 20 minutes until they found out he wasn't. So now they don't want to talk about it. There's still 8 people who lost their lives. But if it doesn't fit the narrative, if the color charts don't match up, they aren't going to say shit. That's why we can't trust them. Why do you think Trump was calling them the enemy of the people? If you continuously lie to me, you're my enemy. Man, please, let me get over here with my beautiful wife and kids. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please, subscribe. Hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Get your Jericho Green notification tone, link in the description box. Utilize the PayPal link and the Teespring link to get your green gear. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.